Welcome to the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast with your host, hailing from Kaukauna, Wisconsin, riding a CST Tires SSI Decals Valvoline Back Yamaha YFC 450R, four-time ATV Motocross National Champion, number 25, Cody Jansen.
What's up, everybody?
We're back!
Welcome to the latest edition of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, episode 121 of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, presented by our title sponsor, CST Tires, in stock and available for purchase today at shop.csttires.com. I'm your host, Cody Jansen, saying hello to our more than 230,000 monthly Digging Deep listeners in all 103 countries in which you are listening, and this is our Loretta Lynn's review show. We have so much to discuss from the 2023 ATV Motocross National Championship season finale at Loretta Lynn's. Logan Tremellen of Tremellen Media House will join us to help break down a great weekend of racing action. But if you're listening to this, you know that a tragedy struck our ATV racing family, as we've lost a family that was a true staple to our community. This episode is in loving memory of the Molander family, who were on their way to Loretta's as a family, but never made it. Their remembrance will very much be a part of this episode, including the last two segments of tonight's show that we will forever cherish. This one is in honor of Don, Kim, Dane, and Miranda Molander, as well as their dog Rue. You are so deeply missed, but if we have anything to do with it, I am confident that your legacies will live on forever. Before we dive in, let's quickly shout out all of our incredible partners. CST Tires, go to shop.csttires.com today. Yamaha, thanks to Blue Crew. Thanks to SSI Decals, Valvoline, DID Racing Chain, Namura Technologies, Bronco ATV and UTV Components, Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply, the financial advice of the Haymauer Financial Group, DP Brakes, Factory 43, Binky's Forever ATC Museum, Impact Solutions, new partner Caldera Lab and their high-performance men's skincare products and regiment. We all know moto is a gnarly sport. It can be hard on our skin, so allow Caldera Lab to help you achieve your skincare goals this summer. Get 20% off with code DIGGINGDEEP20 at calderalab.com/diggingdeep20, and Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with code DIGGINGDEEP20 at manscaped.com. You already know it was big news when Manscaped announced that they were jumping into the beard products game, introducing the Beard Hedger Pro Kit from Manscaped. A premium beard sculpting machine, the Beard Hedger allows dudes like you and I to style our beards to exactly our liking with a zoom wheel featuring 20 different built-in lengths. This Pro Kit also includes shampoo, conditioner, oil, and balm for your beard, as well as a brush, comb, and scissors. Now you're speaking my language, Manscaped. Get 20% off with free shipping by using code DIGGINGDEEP20 at manscaped.com. So rad that Manscaped is continuing to invest in ATV racing as a longtime partner of Digging Deep. Help us keep them in the fold and involved in ATV racing by using our Digging Deep 20 code so they know you enjoy digging deep and what we're all about here. And speaking of outside the industry sponsors, if you send us a screenshot of an order from Caldera Lab using our Digging Deep 20 code, we will send you an item of Digging Deep merch for free. Support all these great companies that support us, and for any products that fall through the cracks, click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner on our website to help us out. The 2023 ATV Motocross National season has officially come to an end, but we both know you still need parts and gear, maybe now more than ever. No matter what off-road gear parts you need, Rocky Mountain ATVMC has you covered. But before you buy, simply click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner on our website. By using our specific link, we get a percentage of what you buy on the back end, enabling you to help us out while purchasing the parts you need anyway. And did you know you can buy OEM parts from Rocky Mountain ATVMC as well? Yep, shipped conveniently right to your door. So click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner at diggingdeepatvmx.com to help us out while satisfying all your gear and parts needs. One new donor to shout out this week. Shout out to the Valone family, longtime supporters of Digging Deep since its inception. We appreciate your contribution so much. If you are interested in donating and hearing your name on the show, you can find the Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee donation links on our website. Major thanks to all who have donated, of course. Now, if you can't donate, but you still want to help us out, you can leave us a rating or a review on iTunes and Spotify. That helps us out in a major way. If nothing else, it lets our partners know that you're passionate about digging deep and keeping us around long into the future. Now, it's showtime. The 30-second board is up, it's sideways, and the gate is down. Time to dig deep.
Let's go!
All right, guys, we're back one final time with one final race recap show as we headed to Hurricane Mills, Tennessee for round 10 of the ATV Motocross National Championship Series, the Loretta Lynn season finale. Joining me to help break down all the action is a dude who continues to slay it. We haven't had him on here in a minute, but we mention his name on every single episode. Brought to you by our friends at Caldera Lab and their high-performance men's skincare products and regiment. We all know moto is a gnarly sport. It can be hard on your skin, so allow Caldera Lab to help you achieve your skincare goals this summer. Get 20% off with our code DiggingDeep20 at calderalab.com/diggingdeep20. I'm proud to welcome from Tremellen Media House, Mr. Logan Tremellen. Logan, welcome back to the podcast, buddy. Congrats on all the success and all the stuff that you guys continue to do and grow. Your outreach continues to grow. And man, thanks so much for fitting me into your busy schedule. It means a bunch to me.
Of course. Thanks for thinking of bringing me on, Cody.
I've wanted to all season long. It's been a little bit of a disjointed summer for us, but I've been doing some revolving co-host stuff, and you've been on my top of my list from the beginning, but I know your workload is super heavy too. So glad that we could get you in here to talk about, the finale of the ATV Motocross National Championship here. So before we even get into the racing, obviously the weekend started with a tragedy on the way to the event there. Probably, one of the most traumatic things I can remember in my time here in the sport. Pro rider Dane Molander, card girl Miranda Molander, and their parents Don and Kim Molander were tragically lost in a horrific accident on the way to the event. I woke up Thursday morning to just a countless amount of messages and calls and texts and everything else. And, I've really been at a loss of words ever since. It still feels like a nightmare, still hard to wrap my head around it. Their legacy lives on. I think that one thing that we can surely agree on is you can tell the impact that they had. You can tell the kind of people that they were awesome. They were freaking awesome and so respectful and just uplifting. I think that they helped, I know they helped riders behind the scenes and all those things. So just an absolute tragedy, Logan. I don't know what else to say. So many people still hurting with the loss of the Molander family, tragically lost on the way to Loretta's.
Yeah, it's just ridiculously unfortunate, not just for the family, for the ATV motocross community, for everybody just around. My family was really close to them. My brother's really close to them. So, it hit just everybody really hard, and it's really sad to see.
Yeah, it's again, I'm at a loss for words. Somebody said at Loretta's there that I know you're at a loss for words, but you're going to find them, and I'm going to need a little more time to find them. We're going to do some special things here coming up with one of our awards and something coming up cool later on the show here. But right in this moment, wanted to address it right off the top. It's been heavy on all of our hearts, obviously, the ATV motocross community from the moment that it happened, the moment that we learned of it. But still at a loss for words, still feels like a nightmare. So let's kind of transition. I don't know how you shift gears into talking about racing and other things after that. Let's kind of start though. You and I hung out on Friday morning a little bit. We were waiting for the track to dry out there, and we got to touch base a little bit on the continued growth for Tremellen Media House and how you guys are continuing to branch out. Give my listeners a little update on that, because you have a lot to be proud of, pal.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've been on here, but TMH, we have kind of two divisions now. We have the action sports stuff, so we cover the entire ATV Motocross National Championship. And that's pretty much it. I was before trying to expand into other series, but the problem with that is I was just killing myself. It was so much travel. I mean, there was a few weekends where I had to be on different opposite sides of the country in the same weekend, and that just wasn't sustainable. It wasn't a healthy lifestyle. So we kind of actually cut back action sports. We just do ATV motocross, which I think is actually good, because then we can put more time, energy into, the full production, the post-production at the races, and build a solid team there. But now outside of the season, we are building a commercial side of things. So we work with a lot of higher end clients, like construction stuff, healthcare stuff. We're just getting into that realm, really just to actually expand this into not just a weekend, hobby, but now it's actually a full on business. We're building a team. We have an office now. So we're just expanding. So on top of, I think last time I was on here, it was just me going to all of the races, me filming everybody, me editing everything, me posting everything. Now it's me and Noel Mickelson. He's an ex-pro racer. He rode for Phoenix Racing Honda at the time. Now we both film everything, we both edit everything, and we have Max Mansky, who runs Pro Sport, I believe he's in right now, but he helps us post a lot of our content.
Awesome.
So we're slowly building a team. I'm trying to make it into something more than just me, just the name, actually a team that can help the series grow, help the sport grow, and create just as much content, as much badass content as we possibly can.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's super cool. Congrats on all that. And it's pretty cool because you're bringing your fellow ATV dudes with you, which is pretty awesome. And it reminds me of a lot of successful businesses in our industry. Like you think of SSI Decals, they're a kingpin in so many ways. The ATV side of what they do is very small in comparison to the grandness of, Signcraft and all the stuff they do for John Deere and everything else. So to think that, you can grow a business and be super successful and then hopefully always maintain the ATV thing, because obviously, what you do for in coverage of the sport and the videos and the content and the pictures and your clients and everything, you bring a lot to the sport. So hopefully that can maintain for forever, where you can help ATV motocross while, probably have something that really, helps you fund the business and grow kind of elsewhere, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the plan. I think I told you when we were hanging out on Friday that I actually want to make it so I don't need ATV motocross to make money.
Right.
And what the fun for me in that is we can do a lot more giveaways. So like I just started doing a giveaway where I pay for 3 different riders. I pay for their practice and race entry every single weekend. And it went great. That was actually my favorite part of every weekend recently, is just going around and being like, hey, here's a t-shirt and here's a check, like congrats. Yeah, and awesome. Some people were expecting it, some people weren't. So that was really fun. And I don't know if I want to do more people, because it might become a hassle of needing to find 5-10 people a weekend, but sure, more money is always fun. So we'll see where we end up next year.
Well, that's pretty cool. Credit to you for that, and good passion project for sure. That's awesome. So we briefly discussed with David Eller on the preview show, but Loretta Lynn's got pounded with rain in a historic fashion during the bike event there leading up to our arrival. So it dried out a little bit. It was drying out. They pulled the mud that they had scraped off. They had to scrape so far down for the bike race to make it rideable. They scraped it back onto the racetrack. I believe it was drying out nicely. And then we got rain again at the start of ATV week. And it was still wet, like we said on Friday morning when we were kind of passing the time there, waiting for the track to dry out. Quad started riding on it more and more, and eventually it came around. But man, it was so deep. It was so rutted. I had people coming up to me all day long saying, man, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know what's wrong with my machine. But it was just that deep. I think that people weren't used to it being that grabby, that deep, that rutted, that saturated. Like I had my rear end, my chain, stuff like that getting hung up in places where like it's never got hung up. And we've dealt with some serious rain at Loretta's in the past. But yeah, it was pretty saturated there, pretty deep on Friday. It would come around for the weekend, but yeah, it took you a little while to be able to get on the racetrack as it dried out there. And still, like, Friday was never normal. It wasn't a normal, like, we felt the effects of bike week and all the saturation that they had there, pal.
Yeah, the track on Friday was rough. Yes. I mean, first off, we had to hang out for the track to be rideable. Like, there was people out there, but it wasn't even worth being out there. And I mean, I think I was out on the track filming all day, and I don't know if I have a single good clip, just because like even the fast guys couldn't go fast. Like it was a gnarly track for a Friday practice.
Yeah, I kept telling people that, like my dad's back home, calling me like, man, how's the track coming along? I'm like, yeah. It's like not that muddy. Like it came around fine as far as that goes, but I'm like, it's going to be so rough and so rutted. I'm like, you're not learning anything. Like, that's what I tell people. If you're not learning anything out there, it's kind of pointless. I said to my wife at the end of the day, I'm like, I should have just skipped it. It didn't, like, I've done 1 million laps on this racetrack. Yeah. It's the same, so
skip it, lay in the creek.
Yeah. So things did come around though. Saturday morning, the track really was coming into its own. It was primo. So we saw that first pro qualifier come out. Joel Hetrick tops the board there in the first qualifying session, followed by Bryce Ford, Chad Wienen, Nick Janusa, and Brandon Hogue. That was your top 5. And then the rains came Logan. The track was just starting to shape up. Like I said, it felt like the Lorettas we know riding it Saturday morning. It was really coming along. And then that ship completely sailed. That second qualifier would be foregone. And the dynamic of this final race day of the season changed in a hurry, didn't it, Logan?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was out there during the first qualifier and I saw the rain coming. They were like talking about it. And I was just optimistic that it was going to miss us. I even talked to Harv and he's like, I took my jacket out. That means the rain will miss us because we're ready for it.
Okay.
And it did not miss us. It hit us really bad for a long time. And I will say, they canceled the second qualifier, but I think this was the first time ever that I remember that the first moto didn't go until 1 p.m. It was insane. So second moto after the pros went at 2.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy. I don't remember ever starting that late.
I was thinking the same thing. So I was supposed to be one of the first motos in the morning and we're like sitting in staging and somebody comes up and they're like, the weather, like there's weather coming. So I have Brooke pull up the radar. It's obviously not pretty. I'm like, okay, like, let's go. And they didn't get any races in before that first qualifier. And you could feel I could just feel it in the air. I'm like, Brooke, like we have to leave staging. We got to go back to the trailer, put the quad right in. And you could just, it was coming and it was going to be pretty serious. And I think the rain was even worse than I expected. So yeah, that I believe it was a C class, I think was like down there in staging before the first qualifier ever went. And I think some riders stayed down there the whole time. I swear they were down there for like 3 hours, like legit 3 hours.
Literally.
Because the first moto of the day, race number 1, like you said, went off at 1 o'clock. They raced 1 moto, then everything stopped. They got ready for the pros. And like you said, race 2 didn't happen until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So credit to them for getting all the motos in by dusk. That was absolutely amazing. But man, the rain that we got, it got dark. Like it felt like nighttime almost.
Mm-hmm.
And we got freaking pounded. There was like my pit area became lakefront property.
It was so bad.
It was bad. So Joel Hetrick came over just ahead of that first moto. He was giving the track a quick look and he comes by and he goes, that's the worst thing I've ever seen. So I remember posting that. I posted that like, man, for anybody that's looking for a track update, there's that. Joel Hetrick said it's the worst thing that he's ever seen. But honestly, like I thought that it actually didn't end up being as bad as I thought. They cut out the billboard section for the pros, which was muddy in the morning because quads hadn't been on it all weekend. And they cut the section in the back, Storyland out of it.
Yeah.
But other than that, like honestly, like the track ended up actually being better than I expected in that first moto. You know, the first couple laps were pretty darn sloppy, but it came around pretty fast. Like it wasn't as bad as I expected, to be honest. So credit to the track crew for getting it as rideable as they did.
Yeah, I mean, the whole shot is always important. It was definitely more important in that first moto for Joel.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But you could tell that Loretta's one had a lot of experience in the rain over the past few weeks, but 2 saw it coming. We got a lot of rain on Thursday. We got a lot of rain on Saturday, and the track was surprisingly raceable.
It really was. So just like you said, whole shot was more important than ever in a mud race. And guess who? Joel Hetrick rips that Moto 1 whole shot, followed by Chad Wienen. So your top 5 there early was Hetrick, Wienen, Hogue, Rastrelli, and Salinas. Nick Janusa made the pass there for 5th on Salinas on lap 2. But after that, you know how these mud races go, Logan. There was like a lot of just follow the leader going on, guys getting spread out, kind of finding where they were at and just kind of staying there. It was so muddy. You know, you can't take on, the track was better than we expected, but you can't take on that kind of roost for any prolonged period of time. There's just no way to do it. So that first moto, where they kind of started is where they finished. We didn't see a ton of, close racing going on. It's like everybody found their spot and kind of stayed there for the duration of this thing.
Yeah, I saw exactly the same thing. One, you can't take the roost that long, but 2, it definitely there was a fast line around the whole track. So They all just kind of fell into it and just rode the race,
Yeah, for sure. So the muddy conditions at Pleasure Valley weren't kind to Joel Hetrick a few races ago, but he made the treacherous track conditions look easy in that first moto, stretching his lead to more than 12 seconds by moto's end. And obviously, so titles wrapped up. Joel Hetrick had this title wrapped up, obviously, at Briarcliff. So my thought, kind of one of my themes for the day is Chad Wienen going to be able to nail down possible win here to finish the season and, I think the record is 17 now seasons with at least one win for Chad Wienen, 17 consecutive, as we see this day play out. So he was on the hunt for that, and he's always good in the mud. Chad's just, he's just so consistent, hits his marks so well, but didn't get the first moto hole shot that he needed to make that happen. Like you said, it was pretty one-lined, and Joel Hetrick had made a point coming into this race that he was going to break some hearts. He was going to go harder than ever before. And man, I couldn't believe the way he was pushing it early and throughout that first moto, where he, got a comfortable lead and kind of held on to it. Then it was 12-second gap for the last 3, 4, 5 laps, kind of similar to we've seen all season long. It was very similar to, these were treacherous conditions, but the same Joel Hetrick we've seen all season long. And I've probably asked all of my guests because he's put together such an amazing season, but I don't know what else there is to say about this guy. I mean, absolutely prolific season by Joel Hetrick, man.
Yeah, Joel had just an incredible season all around. He was probably the most consistent and fast we've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And Chad getting hurt just kind of made it even more because he had that little bit of breathing room pretty much all season.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, Joel's a racer. He wouldn't have gone out there and gone slow. He would rather not show up than go out there and go slow. So yeah, obviously if he's going for the whole shot, and if he gets the whole shot, he's riding his ass off.
Probably a shame that we didn't see a dry track for him, because he said he was going to uncork it and grab another gear now that the championship was sealed. But yeah, we still saw some great racing on this day. First moto, maybe not so much, but we did see Bryce Ford come into this one with a 19-point advantage over Chad Wienen. This is one of the other top storylines we were following throughout the day here in this race for second in points. But things got interesting when Bryce was buried in the first corner. I saw him just about last, and could only get as high as 8th by moto's end. So things got tight. I think it went from a 19-point advantage coming in to a 10-point advantage going into that second moto. And we were seeing things tighten up there. That was definitely something that was the race to watch as far as points were concerned on this race day. And things got tight in that first moto, pal.
Yeah, that's actually what I was paying attention to the most, is where Bryce was, because I knew Wienen was in second.
Yep.
And I didn't know the points difference, so I didn't even know I didn't know it was still 10. I actually thought it was closer, if not already gone in my head when I was out there. I was filming. There was a lot going on, but I just saw Bryce. I'm like, he's pretty far back there, and I was like, you better pick it up. The second place is on the line. Not even just a second place, but Bryce's second place ever is on the line.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was paying attention to most.
Yeah, absolutely. He made some passes very late in that race that kept it double digits there at 10 points. But yeah, it didn't look good. I thought in my mind it was going to be even closer than that going into the second moto as well. And speaking of points battles, we didn't even know that Logan Stanfield was going to give it a go. I learned this after we got to the racetrack on Wednesday. Rob Stanfield was one of the first people to come over and kind of fill me in on what was going on there. But yeah, that was a points battle that we were monitoring, that final top 10 spot for 10th overall in points. And Logan Stanfield decided to give it a go, and he would end up a strong 9th in that first moto with that knee injury that he suffered at Briarcliff, looking very much like he may hold on to that top 10 spot in points. And so much respect to him. I mean, I know that knee was still swollen. He didn't know the exact injury that he had at the time, but I know he was suffering. He was wearing some different braces. I think a brace he got from Joel Hetrick and all kinds of things. And that first moto, the mud probably helped him. And I said that to him, like, the mud probably helped you, pal. And he was in agreement with that. But he went out there, suffered his way to a 9th in that first moto. And then that kind of took the pressure off for the second moto. We didn't even know he was going to race. And he went out there and slayed it. The goal was to hold on to the top 10. And he took a major step towards that in that first moto. Yeah,
I didn't even know Logan was going out. Until he showed up on the qualifier, I just had. I'm pretty good at staying in my own little world.
Right.
But yeah, he rolled up. I'm like, wait, didn't you hurt yourself?
Uh-huh.
So it was really cool to see him go up and not even just show up, but still be competitive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It was one of those things, like I remember posting that he might be out for the season because that's the way that they made it sound. And then I kind of highlighted the fact that Cody Ford, who really wanted that top 10 spot, was only 5 points back from Logan coming into the finale. And I remember posting that, like it was right in his view, Cody Ford's view there. And I'm like, I just have a gut feeling Logan's going to give it a go. And that's what we ended up seeing. So at the finish there, it was Hetrick, your winner, 12 seconds up, followed by Chad Wienen. Brandon Hogue, strong third. He ran third kind of throughout by himself in this moto, so credit to him. Jeffrey Rastrelli fourth. Nick Janusa rounded out the top five. Wesley Wolf, strong sixth for Wesley Wolf. Lindquist, Bryce Ford up to eighth. Stanfield ninth, like we said. Salinas rounded out the top 10. Kevin Sarr, Cody Ford, and Costa Rica's Cesar Jimenez rounded out the field there. We'll get right back to the show, but now a word from our sponsors. And thank you for listening to these ads. Without these great companies, none of this would be possible. Show your support for the people who support us. The official tire choice of Digging Deep, CST tires are the choice of ATV racing's elite on the track, in the woods, and every other terrain. CST tires swept the ATV racing world in 2022 as Joel Hetrick, Bryson Neal, and Bo Barron rode their Pulse MXR and Pulse HT tires to an ATV Pro Motocross title, GNCC XC1 Pro title, and 10th ATV Pro Works Racing title, respectively. Led by champion Joel Hetrick and podium contenders Bryce Ford, Jeffrey Rastrelli, and Nick Janusa, CST's Pulse MXR tire is the most trusted tire in ATV motocross today. Available in soft and standard compounds, the Pulse MXR offers the highest level of traction, most predictable cornering, and superior wear characteristics when compared to the competition. And did I mention they have a contingency program as well? Visit shop.csttires.com to join the CST takeover today, or prepare to be beat by someone who did. The best of the best choose CST. Do you? You know we're Team Blue Crew here at the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, as the Yamaha YFZ450R is the official ATV of Digging Deep. In a move started by 8-time ATVMX Pro Class National Champion Chad Wienen, who with his next championship will become the winningest champion in ATV motocross history, we are living in ATV racing's YFZ450R era. Alongside Wienen, 7-time GNCC XC1 Pro ATV National Champion Walker Fowler welcomed a pair of new champions to the Yamaha Champions Club, as the podium-proven Yamaha YFZ450R proved to be the winning choice for Joel Hetrick and Bryson Neal. This unprecedented success for the YFZ450R, its unrivaled quality and performance, and the clear fact that Yamaha is the leading OEM supporter of ATV racing has resulted in a complete Yamaha takeover within the sport quad market. Evident by the continuation of Yamaha's Blue Crew Racer Support Program, Yamaha riders will once again cash in on payout and prize opportunities in 2023, including a chance to win a brand new YFZ450R. For more info, head over to YamahaBlueCrew.com. Follow Yamaha Outdoors, as well as the new Blue Crew official channel on social media, and check out Yamaha's full proven off-road lineup at YamahaOutdoors.com today. SSI Decals, your way. SSI Decals sets the standard with the best looking decals, graphics kits, and vinyl wraps in the industry. Established in 1947, SSI took shape as an offshoot of their parent company by doing a little work for local pro Chad Wienen. Nearly 2 decades later, and fueled by a passion for ATVs, the company has flourished into one of ATV Moto's most recognized brands. From ATV Motocross, SSI has expanded into graphics and design work for top racers in GNCC, Works Racing, Pro Motocross and Supercross, off-road, and more, headlined by 8-time world champion top fuel drag racer Clay Milliken. Whether your project is big or small, SSI Decals will make your identity stick. Get started today at SSIDecals.com and use code DIGGINGDEEP10 for 10% off at checkout. Things are about to get sick. The Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast is brought to you in part by DID and their wide range of championship-winning chains. From the street to the track and everywhere in between, DID chains are designed to give you the optimal riding experience with great performance and increased chain life. Consistent to the core, pick up your box of reliability today. DID, what drives you?
We are proud to be partnered with Namura Technologies. For over 20 years, Namura has pushed the limit of value and reliability in the ATV and side-by-side market. Covering more applications than anyone in the industry, Namura's full line of cast and forged pistons, connecting rods, gasket kits, and industry-leading top-end repair kits and more have led to higher overall engine performance for your machine. Visit your local dealer or online at www.namura.com and follow along on Instagram for giveaways and exciting new products in 2023. Namura Technologies, your one-stop shop engine component supplier.
We are pleased to be partnered with Bronco ATV and UTV Components.
Bronco has been an industry leader in replacement hard parts and accessories for all makes and models for over 15 years. With a catalog that includes a full line of electrical components, engine internals and cylinders, shock and suspension parts, winches, clutch kits, valves, carb kits, bearing kits, and drive chain parts, Bronco is your hard parts source for whatever you need, for whatever you ride. Available exclusively through distributors around the world. Visit your local dealer or online at broncoatv.com.
For over 150 years, Valvoline has been dedicated to constant improvement and innovation across all disciplines of racing. As a proud member of Team Valvoline for nearly a decade, I have witnessed their unwavering commitment to pushing the boundaries of performance. Valvoline has sponsored some of the greatest names in motorsports, solidifying their position as a powerhouse in the industry. Being a part of this historically great team has been an incredible privilege. When it comes to my equipment, whether it's my daily commuting vehicles, race quads, or anything in between, I trust nothing but Valvoline. Their range of products and lubricants consistently delivers increased horsepower, durability, and engine life. While Valvoline's latest innovation, the Valvoline Ultimate Powersports line, stands out as a true game changer, their entire lineup deserves recognition. With the Ultimate Powersports, I've experienced unparalleled performance on the track and beyond. Its advanced synthetic formula is specifically engineered for high-performance powersports vehicles, delivering unmatched power, protection, and endurance. Upgrade to Valvoline today and experience the difference for yourself. Visit ValvolineGlobal.com to explore their full range of products, including the groundbreaking Valvoline Ultimate Powersports. Discover why Valvoline has been a trusted name in the racing industry for over a century. So then moving on to Moto 2, the overarching theme, Logan, for Moto 2, at least for me, was first noticed as riders took their final sight lap of the season. And I noticed that there was a mix of big tires and standard tires being chose by these riders for Moto 2. The track had clearly come around, and now there was a gamble going on. There was kind of a, are you going to run the big tires to possibly help you get a whole shot and then manage throughout the race, where I feel like on the track, the little tires might have been the answer. So this kind of whole theme was headlined by Hetrick opting for his normal setup while Chad Wienen was on big tires. And instantly I knew that, being that this added factor, we may be in for a barn burner there in the final moto of the season.
Yeah, two things to say. One, people were literally going back and forth between big and smalls. Rastrelli came back from the sight lap, decided he wanted to switch off of bigs.
Yep.
And when they were switching to smalls, the gate actually dropped before he was on the line. He finished the whole race with, I think, 3 smalls and 1 big tire.
You're exactly right.
So he was literally in between decisions.
Yeah.
But then one thing that I've never thought about is when they're racing a track like that, Loretta's super soft. Even if smalls is a better decision based off of the track conditions.
Yeah.
If other riders in your same class or before your class are on bigs, the ruts will be deeper than your bike can take.
Yep.
So then, for example, in this situation, Wienen would be able to, you can still ride pretty fast with big tires on.
Oh yeah.
Like Joel used to train with big tires, even on dry hard pack tracks, just to get used to it, used to how the bike reacts. So in that situation, if Wienen's racing a track like that, he can dig those deeper ruts, and then Joel will be scraping and being slowed down a lot. Mm-hmm. So that's a factor that I actually never thought of ever in my history of racing until this weekend.
So it was the top of my mind, Logan. You're hitting the nail on the head, because it was the top of my mind. I was saying to people, I'm like, as much as Friday was so weird and it was so deep and so rutted, I'm like, the track today on Saturday, in my opinion, I'm like, it'll never be as good as it was on Friday even. Now, it came around. It really did. Like, I raced late in the day, nearly at dusk, and I ran little tires. But even then, we were race almost 30, and I was scrambling because I had big tires on and ripped them off to put little tires on. So yes, you're exactly right. Because my thought was, it was so deep and so rutted that I'm like, if we were racing on Friday's track, and remember, I said it was not muddy as the day played out on Friday, but I'm like, if we were racing, I would be on big tires to get that ground clearance, just like you're saying. And then there's that obvious advantage of the whole shot, whether it's just the ruts you may be in literally in the starting pad. And then as that, first straightaway, the whole shot straightaway is as deep as it is, the big tires, I think, they play a role. They definitely are an advantage, I think. And I'm assuming in Joel's mind, he's thinking, okay, I'm such a good starter. I'm sure I can get the whole shot on normal tires. But Chad foiled that plan by getting the whole shot with those big tires. And like I said, just as I suspected, big tire Chad Wienen ripped the whole shot. And then I knew, because you said already, the track was developing in a way that it was obviously pretty one line, especially if you're going pretty similar speeds. And I knew we were in for a fun one as soon as we saw Chad Wienen get the whole shot.
Yeah, I mean, Chad and Joel were pretty much side by side on the whole shot. He just pushed Joel out a little bit.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, this is a race. It was, I don't know if we're going to touch on this, but it was really cool to see Chad back up there.
Yeah.
I think people still don't understand that he broke his collarbone at round 2 and he came back for round 3.
With no reprieve, with no downtime.
Yeah, literally. I think it was like 3 days after the crash or something like that. He actually flew here to me in Pennsylvania and had a surgery done. I picked him up from the airport and picked him up from surgery and dropped him off the airport. So like he was ready to get back to training as soon as the crash happened, pretty much. So it's honestly insane that he's still able to race at this level, but be able to make a recovery that fast and still be competitive and still get a win at the end of the season.
Absolutely freaking insane. So I'm so glad that you wanted to touch on it, because it's just nuts. I mean, you look at his season and it's 2-19, 2-2-2-2-2-2-2-2-1 now after the weekend plays out the way that it does. And yeah, to think that he broke his collarbone in the middle of there. Still kind of hurts and winces if somebody grabs him on the shoulder or whatever, hits him on the back or whatever it is. Like, to think of that and how consistent and good he has been, the dude is just an absolute legend. So so we knew we were in for a fun one. He rips the whole shot there on big tires, and in the first couple corners, Joel Hatrick, who was just a little bit back after that first corner played out, Joel Hatrick was already maneuvering his way into second. So it was Wienen, Hatrick, Janusa, Bryce Ford with a much better start in this one in fourth, Brandon Hogan fifth. What were you thinking at this point? Did you have a guess on what you might see? Like, did you think that Chad was going to be able, I mean, that he was sensing blood in the water. Last moto of the season, was in position for a possible overall, out in clean air on a muddy track or whatever, one-lined racetrack. I was thinking, like, man, you're going to see everything Chad has right now. I'm assuming you had a similar thought.
Yeah, I mean, Chad was doing his race. He was riding how he normally does, and Joel was all over him. Yeah. I mean, the entire race, Joel was just looking for new lines, trying to get beside him, trying to get in front of him. There were so many times where they were side by side, but Joel was on the outside, so Chad had the right of way. So Joel checked up. And I mean, I actually thought Joel was going to get around him. Yeah. So I was impressed that Chad could keep him behind him. I don't know if the tires came into play in that, or if it was just the track being one lined or whatever it was, but it was really cool to see Chad, hold Joel off for that entire race. And towards the end, Joel couldn't take the roost anymore. It was actually, his bike started smoking a little bit. Yeah. I think he took his goggles off, but you could tell that he had nothing for him.
It's one of those things, and I was watching this race go down, and you were a racer too, so you know this feeling. The feeling of when somebody is pressuring you, like it feels like they're going to drive through you. I experienced that in the pro class a little bit here and there, and I'm like, what that must feel like to know Joel Hatrick, prolific season, all these things. I know Chad just looks at him like his main competitor, but you got Joel Hatrick all over you for 22, 23, 24 minutes, and to never relent, to never give up the spot. Absolutely masterful job. I mean, Joel Hatrick set the fastest time. Like you said, they couldn't have been any closer. They literally could not have been any closer. They were bumping tires. They had to be bumper to grab bar. But Chad never gave it up. And man, that pressure, man, like to survive that pressure, shoot, Chad Wienen is the only person on the planet that could go through that whole race and not make enough of a mistake for Joel Hatrick to get by. I'm quite confident in that.
Yeah, that's why it's Chad Wienen.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. So we could see Chad Wienen. He was trying to stretch that lead early, ever so slightly. In third, Nick Janusa was distancing himself from the rest of the pack. So he was kind of clear third all race long. That was never in doubt. But quickly, like you said, I realized that Jeffrey, who was very much in the mix in that first moto, had started the race half a lap down or whatever it was. I mean, way back.
Yeah.
And then come to find out, he was riding on 3 little tires and a big tire, I think is what it was. And the Rastrelli squad told me after the fact, like Jeffrey comes in, he wants to switch. Big Jeff's like he shouldn't have. Obviously, we would have got the whole shot and maybe we could have won the second moto because Jeffrey was ripping, especially for being on 3 little tires and a big tire. It's absolutely mind blowing. And then I think one of the crew members there had messaged us and said that I think the impact gun also died in the process. So
Really?
that was an added factor of that whole thing. So he comes in after the sight lap, wants to switch the tires, and shoot, if he had a do-over, he would obviously have stuck to Biggs and did that whole thing because he didn't have a fighting chance in that second moto. Like I said, he was ripping, got up to the back of, I think, like Cody Ford. So it would have been kind of farther back end of the top 10 area. And then, like you said, one line track, muddy, all those things. And it's like, you can't do that much when you get to, riders that are clearly going pretty fast and aren't going to give you the spot. So Jeffrey surely wishing he had a do-over there in that second moto.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate that just happened, that it came to be. But that's definitely not the track that you want that to happen if it does. He might have been riding better because he was just pissed off about it.
Oh, I'm sure he was. Oh my gosh, I'm sure he was. I mean, I heard, you always hear the rev limiter with Jeffrey, but I was hearing extra rev limiter, I swear. So I'm sure. And after that first moto, nobody wants to, I should say, everybody wants to end the season on a high note with a podium or whatever it was. So fourth in that first moto, Jeffrey wants to get on the overall podium on the day to end this thing, but that was not gonna happen here. So after a super strong first moto, we saw Brandon Hogue losing positions. He fell back to 7th after getting passed by Wesley Wolf and Max Lindquist. And then up front, we saw Joel Hetrick turning some burners. Like you said, he gets to the back of Chad Wienen. There's not an inch between those two. Logan, excluding that last lap, the gap between Wienen and Hetrick was less than a second every single time they came by the stripe in the second half of this race. And to me, I swear, like I said, Joel couldn't have been possibly any closer to Chad Wienen. Now, the corner where he seemed to pull up and really get close was that sand corner before the finish. I know that's what you were talking about earlier.
Yep.
They'd get side by side a few laps in a row. They got side by side there, and it seemed like Joel Hetrick got closer and closer and closer every time. So as the race played out, I'm thinking it's going to come down to the last lap. It's going to come down to that last corner, and Joel's going to give it his all. But on the last lap, like you said, we saw Joel Hetrick throw his goggles, and his machine started bellowing out some smoke after all that roost he took on, and essentially it was over at that point. But shoot, what a race we saw between those two, and so much credit to Joel Hetrick because he didn't need to do that. I mean, you know what you're going to get from Joel. He's always going to put his best foot forward, but he didn't need to go do that, and he freaking left it all out there. So much credit to him because he rode his ass off.
Yeah, Joel gave it pretty much everything he has. I do think that if the championship was on the line, one of those laps, he might have not hit the brakes as soon and threw it in on Wienen a little bit more. Yeah. So that would have been interesting. But at the same time, Wienen has a lot of momentum going into next year. Like you break your collarbone, spend all season getting back to normal, and then win the last season or last race of the season. You have some good momentum heading into the next year.
Would this get your vote for race of the year? Because it sure would for me. I mean, we saw in the final moto of the season. Now, Budds Creek was good. And you could, if you just watch Joel Hetrick, the stuff that we see him do on an ATV, you could call every race the race of the year if you just watch him. Mm-hmm. But as far as battles go, intensity, I mean, what we saw, like I was on edge that second half of that second moto. Race of the year for me, no doubt.
I don't even know, to be honest. Like I said, I'm in my own little world when I'm out there. So I can't even remember all the battles that happened this year. So maybe, potentially. I know there was some incredible racing, not necessarily for position
Of
one.
course, yeah.
But there were some crazy races this year for sure.
And I love seeing Bryce get some wins. That was fun too. I mean,
2 wins, right?
Yeah, 2 overalls. Yep.
Yeah.
So a crazy season for sure. So Chad Wienen grabs the first win of his season. Joel Hetrick caps his 4th title season with a hard-fought 2nd overall, 1-2 scores on the day. And Nick Janusa rounds out the overall podium, making it back-to-back podium appearances to cap the season for him. How impressive was Nick down the stretch? He really figured out his qualifying. He figured out his hole shots. And then to end the season with back-to-back overall podiums officially, pretty darn impressive, and so stoked for that for him. You touched on Chad trending upwards and getting hot, having momentum, finishing the season, coming in next year. Nick Janusa is coming into year 10 in 2024, and he's got more momentum than any of the dudes behind him on the list for sure.
Yeah, I agree. It was really cool to see Janusa get back-to-back podiums, because at Briarcliff, he was kind of, it wasn't given to him, he earned it, but it was a result of the points being shifted from whatever happened.
Exactly.
So on podium, he's like, I'm really happy to be up here without any of that situation. Like, he actually rode to a 3rd place. So obviously he was stoked on that, because obviously people will say whatever they want if you're given a 3rd place in whatever regard.
Right.
So on the podium, he touched on, he's like, I needed this, because now, like, you can't say anything about my 3rd. Like, I believe I belong up here, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that Briarcliff situation was so weird. Even you guys with the posting you do or whatever, I was kind of like, I don't know what to post, Bryce was the podium guy on the podium. He's physically stood there. Nick gets awarded it with all the protests and stuff. He earned it. Like you said, I mean, the way it went down is the way it went down, but it was like, it's not even like he can hop on there and be like, yeah, stoked to get 3rd this weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I am really happy that it ended the way that it did, and he could be stoked on it and hang his hat on that the way that he was able to by finishing on the podium there to end the season. So let's quickly run down the results sheet here. So obviously, like we said, Chad Wienen, he goes 2-1 for his first overall win on the day here. I think it was the 66th win of his career, I think, for the 38-year-old 8-time champion. Yes, it was the 66th overall victory of his career's 141st podium. And like I said, his 17th consecutive ATV motocross season, securing an overall victory. So that's just, the numbers are just ridiculous. Joel Hetrick, his season ends obviously with a 2nd overall on the weekend, but with 16 moto wins, 9 fast qualifier awards, 7 overall victories, and a lot of hole shots. So credit to him again. So much respect for him with the way he handled this race day. Rode his freaking tail off in that 2nd moto. Nick Janusa, he finishes 3rd overall. Stoked for him there. Brandon Hogue, after a really good first moto, he ends up 4th overall on the day. 5th overall was Bryce Ford, and he did just enough, Logan. We kind of touched on this already, but just enough, because that 2nd moto, pressure was on because Chad Wienen was leading this thing. So that's 3 extra points that he automatically gets for being in the lead versus 2nd. And Bryce got a good hole shot in that 2nd moto, kind of took some pressure off himself, but couldn't give up really any spots. It ends up 3 points, the advantage he has over Chad Wienen in the points there. And he got the job done to finish 2nd in the points, but Bryce Ford did what he needed to do there at the finale. He let it get close. He had a flair for the dramatic there, but he pulled it off in the end.
Yeah, it's really cool to see Bryce get that 2nd place. He got 2 wins this year, which is, I think, definitely more wins than he's ever gotten a season before. And he was actually starting the battle with those guys up front.
Really was,
So, yeah, I mean, Chad crashing earlier aside, he definitely earned this, because there were races where he beat Joel straight up, where he beat both of them straight up. So
no matter what happened in the points, it was clearly his best season. No doubt. I mean, obviously he got his first moto win and first overall win of his career. Then to do it twice, got 2 moto wins, 2 overall wins, and then to put together the season that he did, so consistent, 6 podiums in 10 races, just super impressive to see. So credit to him. Love to see it. So again, no matter how it worked out points wise, it was going to be his best season, but he gets that P2 spot in the points, holds off Chad Wienen, and man, credit to him. Good for him. Wesley Wolf, he ends up 6th overall on the day with 6 6.5 scores. That second moto was really strong. I think it was his, we said this at Briarcliff, but his best finish of the season there, 6.5 for sixth overall, was really strong. And we'll get back to him in just a little bit here. We got a few minutes left here. Let's finish up our list here, going down the list. So we talked about Jeffrey Rastrelli. He ends up 7th overall. 8th overall was Max Lindquist. We've kind of seen him just about there all season long. Kevin Saar ends up 9th overall, so caps his first season here in the States in the top 10. Logan Stanfield, so he does hold on to that spot. Just one race after sustaining injuries to his ACL and MCL at Briarcliff in a Briarcliff crash, Logan Stanfield made a determined appearance, fully prepared to battle for his position in the top 10 of the AMA ATV Pro Class season point standings at the finale, and he suffered through the pain. Impressive 9-11 moto finishes for 10th overall on the day, and he finished the deal off, clinching 10th overall in the series points. Absolute badass, man. We touched on it already. I don't know if you have any more to add because we touched on it in that first moto, but he sealed the deal, and I'm glad. I mean, he suffered out there for it, and kind of cool to see him finish off the deal there. Logan Stanfield, so much credit to him.
I don't know how much of him racing was a factor of like what doctor said, because I know he didn't completely destroy his knee.
Yeah.
But he was still out there in pain, like all motocross racers do. We never tell people how much we're actually suffering. Right. So it was really cool to see him come out and still be competitive and earn the top 10.
I told him, and he laughed me off in the morning, but I said, Logan, you're going to go out there, you're going to race exactly how you have all season long, and you're going to get this thing done. And, he did exactly that. I tore my ACL, MCL, and meniscus years ago when I was still on a 300EX, and I had to race the last race of the season to seal the title. And I got the whole shot in the second moto, let Jeffrey sneak by me, shadowed him the whole rest of the race, sealed the deal. And then somehow it was like put it in the back of my mind, didn't even think about it. Then I tried to come home 1 week later and ride, and couldn't ride. Like literally broke the top of my lower leg off because there was nothing in between nothing left of my knee. And I'm like, I don't know how I finished the deal off in Pennsylvania there, but yeah, we did it. And kind of, if there's a will, there's a way. And that's exactly what Logan Stanfield did there. So credit to him. Cody Ford ended up 11th overall. Aaron Salinas ended up 12th overall. He was down hard in Moto 2. He was riding really well in Moto 2, but went down hard in the 10 commandments. But reports are that he's totally okay. So he should be good. So he put together a really, really good, strong late season charge there. So the box score really doesn't show how good he was on this day. And then Cesar Jimenez rounded out the field. This was his last pro race here in the States. So Cesar Jimenez rounds out the field in 13th overall on the day. So quickly, we're running out of time here. I do want to touch on the points. So obviously we know Joel Hattrick wins the title there with one race to spare. Bryce Ford holds on to the second place spot by 3 points. Chad Wienen comes in third. Jeffrey Rastrelli holds on to the 4th spot. Nick Janusa extends that amazing streak of finishing in the top 4 or 5 in every single title as a pro. So that's just ridiculous to wrap your head around. Brandon Hogue finishes 6th overall in points. Max Lindquist 7th. Wesley Wolf, strong kind of rebound after battling this injury bug these last couple years here in the comeback trail for him. 8th overall in points. Kevin Saar gets as high as 9th in the series points. That's not where he was earlier in the season. He gets all the way up to 9th in points. Logan Stanfield 10th. Cody Ford 11th. That was the battle that we were touching on there. Logan gets the spot. Michael Allred 12th. It sounds like we're going to lose him as we look kind of towards the future of this series. We talked to him at Loretta's, and sounds like he's going to probably sit out for sure next year, maybe go TT racing or something like that. So we'll see. Aaron Salinas 13th. He was your top rookie, not named Kevin Saar. Kevin Saar got the Rookie of the Year award. Adam Ulrich ends up 14th, Vince Merman 15th, Dane Molander 16th, John Glada 17th, Cesar Jimenez 18th, Zach Decker 19th, Marshall Smith 20th, Andrew Shaddle and Zach Harris finishing out the field there. So quickly, Logan, as we finish up here, what I want to touch on is our Digging Deep season ending awards. So starting with our Digging Deep Most Improved Pro Award, if I was to kind of propose that to you, what would you say? Who would get your vote for Most Improved Pro?
I pick one. I don't know. I have 3 people come to mind.
Okay.
Bryce, most consistent, fastest season yet. Finish this out on the second. I'll make this quick.
Yep.
Hogue, this was the first year like we actually saw him running up front at Briarcliff. He was in front of Joel until whatever happened. Like he's definitely getting there. Minimize those mistakes, and we will start seeing moto wins, overalls from Hogue. And Sar just really impressed me all around this year. Pro-Am. He was like, I think he has more on the line than pretty most people who come to the series, because you're coming from the complete opposite side of the world. And then to actually back that up with results, and you're consistently getting better. Pro-Am is really where I saw it, where he was like just really putting on good rides, even if he started in the back of the pack. So those are my three. If I have to pick one, I feel like it has to go to Bryce, because I mean, you're getting overall wins. That is probably the hardest step you'll ever make as a racer. I've never experienced it in pro class, obviously, but like going from I could only, my brother was pro for 3-4 years, whatever, and how hard it was for him to get into the top 10. I couldn't imagine how hard it would be to work your way to third and then make that jump to second and the first place position. That has to be, obviously one of the biggest achievements you can get in pro before a championship.
So the way that we've done this in recent years to award this award is literally go by the points, like how much better they are. I came into this race thinking Bryce had to be the slam dunk kind of pick. So by the numbers, he's 59 points better than the year prior and 2 spots better in the points. So he was kind of top of the list. Jeffrey Westerly was 32 points better, 2 spots better in the points. Nick Janusa was 15 points better. And that's the whole list of guys that are better from a year prior, except for one, Wesley Wolf. Now, I don't know how this factors in with the, having an injury, sitting out some races, all those things, but he was 145 points better and 7 spots better than a season ago. Now, again, he only raced half the season last year. It would come down to Bryce and Wesley, and I think we're going to give it to Wesley. Awesome to have him. Awesome to have him back in the series. 145 points better than a year ago. And he was consistent coming off that injury, consistent, like near the top 5, 6, 7 all season long. So those two guys, would be the kind of the fight for it, but I think we're going to give it to Wesley. So that's our most improved pro. The next one is a special one. It's more important than ever before. In 2021, Dane Molander was awarded our Digging Deep Rising Star Award as that season's most outstanding young ATV motocross racer. We announced in the wake of this tragedy that from this day forward, this award will be called the Digging Deep Dane Molander Rising Star Award. We said that at Loretta's a talented young rider will put a cherry on top of a great ATV motocross season, and the trophy they will earn will be in memory and will honor a previous winner and a young talent that so many of us enjoyed. Who would get your vote for Rising Star Award, Logan?
For amateurs, I would say somebody who really impressed me this year. They were competitive in 250s, but now in Pro-Am, like seeing them ride really just resembles what, all of the greats look like. I would say is Mason Jackson. He was riding incredible this year. And I know Kevin Saar, like I said that there were some races where Kevin just kind of destroyed everybody, but Mason, he's not stepping down from pro. So moving up the ranks and being competitive with one of the best riders on the face of the planet is incredible. Absolutely.
I mean, Kevin Saar is, I hold him in the highest regard. He's Europe's Chad Wienen, right? But hard to vote against Mason Jackson. That's exactly what I have on my list, on my sheet here. What a weekend he had, clinching both Pro-Am and Pro Sport titles at the finale, sweeping all 4 motos, getting the job done. And he really left no doubt, Logan. The other guys that I was thinking, Joey Norris comes out in these last couple races and is just on fire in Pro-Am and Pro Sport. So much credit to him. Noah Arnold wins 2 more titles in the 250 class. And I know his family believes that he's won as many titles as anybody in the 250 classes, or the youth classes, I should say. So credit to him. But yes, I think it's gotta be Mason Jackson that we're going to give that award to. Joe Chambers, second, and Blair Miller, third, shared the podium with Mason in Pro-Am as Jackson clinched the title by 5 points there over Kevin Saar. And in Pro Sport, Blair Miller, second, and Tino Abatiello, third, joined Jackson on the podium. And get this, 4th overall was Brett Musig, and he and Mason Jackson tied for the national championship, but Mason Jackson gets the tiebreaker with more overall wins, 4-3. They came into the weekend tied 3-3. And it doesn't get any closer than that because Mason Jackson, they literally tie 0 points different, but Mason Jackson with a win at Loretta's gets the tiebreaker over the former champion and reigning champion Brett Musig. But yeah, it's gotta be Mason Jackson that gets the Rising Star Award there. Bummer for the Musig Racing and Repair team, as they come up 1 or 0 points short of the Pro Sport title, and his rider, Brett's rider, Kevin Saar, there comes up 5 points short of the Pro-Am title. But yeah, so much respect to those guys and these riders. I absolutely love those guys. We crowned a fantasy champion, Adam Smith. So we're in the process of organizing our prizes for our top 15 players or so there. So congrats to Adam, and thanks to all of our amazing fans and friends who played ATV Fantasy this season. The last topic that we got to touch on from our SSI Decals top 5 storylines that we haven't discussed yet is Kinsey Osborne. Could she complete the perfect season? Spoiler alert, she did. A perfect WMX season was officially complete with yet another 1-1 performance at Loretta's, 27 moto wins in a row and counting. It's still going, Logan. Last thing I'm going to have you touch on here, but absolutely just an amazing season. She's like the Joel Hetrick of women's ATV racing. Kinsey Osborne, man, again, like I've said about Joel Hetrick, don't know what to say about her.
Yeah, Kinsey is exactly Joel Hetrick of women's racing. You know, she is probably one of the first women. She is one of the first women we've saw in a while where she can throw her hat in the ring in a B class, you know, and I don't know if they plan on moving her up to A or whatever, but there's
considerations.
Yeah, I know I've heard stuff. That's why I didn't say, I know for sure, but she's competitive. Like, she is not just a good girl racer, she is a good racer. And that really shows. Like, she just rides the bike like no other woman out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. She's a great racer, not just a great women's racer. And just like you said, she grabbed a 2nd overall finish in Open B. What a great way to wrap the season for her. But Logan, I know you got to get out of here. I can't thank you enough for fitting us in. Thanks so much for another awesome season of allowing us to post your content. You know, I adore your work, and I'm already looking forward to 2024, buddy, but I really appreciate you being here. I can't thank you enough for your time, and let's get together in the off season to do a little something. We'll talk about some racing or and whatever little free time you may have. Let's find it for something, because I always love having you on the show, pal.
Yeah, I appreciate you inviting me on.
Always, pal. Thanks so much. That's Tremellen Media House front man Logan Tremellen right here on the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast, brought to you by Caldera Lab and their high-performance men's skincare products and regiment. Get 20% off with code DiggingDeep20 at calderalab.com/diggingdeep20. Thanks so much, pal. Have a good day.
You too. See you.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
The following message is brought to you by Manscaped.com. The Manscaped engineering team has outdone themselves this time, creating the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, now available for purchase in the US and Canada. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped, an official sponsor of the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast, with this exclusive offer of 20% off and free worldwide shipping with code DiggingDeep20 at Manscaped.com. I'm one of the first people to try the new 4.0, and I am blown away. This thing is next level. What sets this trimmer apart from all the rest? The Lawnmower 4.0 gives you the ability to turn the LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. It features a new multi-functioning on-off switch with travel lock for those of us who like to travel. And my favorite, the new trimmer allows you to customize your trim with 4 different guard lengths, an upgrade from its predecessor that only featured 2. If you're listening, you know that good tools are a must, so wait no more to get the best tools for the job. Get 20% off and free shipping with code DiggingDeep20 at Manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at Manscaped.com by using code DiggingDeep20.
Hey everyone, this is Larry Mills, president of DP Brakes North America and proud partner of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. We at DP Brakes are a longtime supporter of ATV racing and the world leader in sintered brake technology, dominating the ATV world for decades by supporting the best four-wheeled racers on the planet. This year's lineup includes Jeff Rastrelli, Mark Baldwin and Baldwin Motorsports, Ford Brothers Racing, Nick Janusa, and many more, including Mr. Digging Deep himself, Cody Jansen. Plus all the top 17 GNCC pros such as 7-time champion Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal, Hunter Hart, Cole Richardson, Jared McClure, Adam McGill, and previous champion Chris Borich. These top riders continue to appreciate the high performance and impressive durability that their DP brakes have to offer, products that ultimately help place them on top of the podium week after week. DP brakes are available through www.dp-brakes.com, or you can purchase them through your local Parts Unlimited stocking dealer, or you can even message us, myself, Larry Mills, or DP Brakes on Instagram or Facebook. And if you have any questions about product or sponsorship support, please ask us. We are waiting for you. Join the best ATV riders in the world equipped with DP Brakes, and have a great year, everyone.
Nearing 2 decades into the brand's existence, Factory 43 is back and better than ever, continuing to make major waves in the ATV world. For the 3rd consecutive season, Factory 43 is the official aluminum parts choice of the Phoenix Racing ATV team, providing their state-of-the-art Evo Nerf bars, MX-style front bumpers, and grab bars for 2-time champ Joel Hetrick. If you're in the market to upgrade your Nerf bars, bumpers, or grab bars, head over to factory43atv.com to see their full line of industry-leading products available for all makes and models. Head over to factory43atv.com today. First impressions matter. What's the first thing that someone notices about you? In most cases, it's your face, and most importantly, your skin. If you aren't already, it's time to put your best face forward. How do you do that? By adding in a skincare routine. And it's not as hard as you think. You just don't have the right tools for the job. Until now. Clinically proven to reduce wrinkles, fine lines, and signs of aging, Caldera Lab is the leader in men's skincare and is here to save the day. Use our exclusive code DIGGINGDEEP20 at calderalab.com to enjoy 20% off their best products. Caldera Lab creates high-performance men's skincare products, and the regiment leads off their product lineup, a twice-a-day routine to transform your skin. Men's skincare has never been easier with the help of Caldera Lab and the regiment. Inside this bundle, you'll find face wash that leaves all skin types feeling refreshed, hydrating daily moisturizer, and a rejuvenating before bed multifunctional serum. Caldera Lab is made with top-tier ingredients and is a great addition to your daily routine. It takes less than a minute both morning and night, and shout out to all the vet riders out there, it's here to reduce your wrinkles, fine lines, and signs of aging. Get 20% off with code DIGGINGDEEP20 at calderalab.com. That's CALDERA lab.com. That's 20% off at calderalab.com by using code DIGGINGDEEP20. Jump into skin and first impression royalty with Caldera Lab. So we broke down all the action from round 10, and this is when we would typically talk to a couple of the riders who headlined the action from the weekend, but there's only one rider that we're going to talk to tonight. AMA ATV Pro Class rookie Dane Molander had joined our show 2 separate times. We're going to repurpose and share those interviews on the remainder of this episode. Tears came to my eyes as I listened to these, but I also laughed and smiled a great deal as well. The first clip you'll hear is from episode 59, which dropped in August of 2021, our Redbud Review show. This was prior to us awarding Dane our Digging Deep Rising Star Award, but it was kind of the weekend that cemented the award for Dane as he graduated to the Pro Sport class and went out and won the damn thing. I had the pleasure of sharing the podium with him that day. What a fun conversation that was. The second clip you'll hear is from earlier this year, January 2023, episode 102. Now defending Pro-Am champion Dane Molander joined us to announce that he would be taking his talents to the pro class aboard a Suzuki. You'll hear him say that his goal was a top 10, pushing for a top 5, something he did absolutely to a T at Pleasure Valley earlier this season when he finished 6th in Pro Moto 1 in his home state. It's time that we proudly welcome Dane Molander to the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast one final time. There's one young man in particular that we simply have to start things off with. Let's get him in here. All right, guys, we've really tried to create a mantra of if you ball out on the track, we'll give you a call for you to come on the show here with us. Well, this guy definitely did just that. He's been doing that all season long, really. It's Redbud Pro Sport winner, fresh off the podium, Mr. Dane Molander. What's up, man? Welcome to Digging Deep.
Hey, Cody, thank you so much for having me here. Can't thank you enough for giving me the opportunity to be on here and talk to everybody.
Man, you've been on a tear all season long. We're stoked to have you, of course. You've been on a tear all season long, but Redbud had to take the cake. Just a few races back, you jumped into pro sport for the first time, and this weekend you go out and won an absolutely stacked class. Tell me about that. A day you truly won't soon forget.
Yes, sir. It all started with just that hole shot. Nick DeNoble grabbing that first hole shot. It was crazy. I didn't even realize he was actually out there at the time until he ended up grabbing the hole shot, holding up the one. I was like,
only him.
Yeah. And so I was impressed. I was like, oh, I'm about to have a battle with Nick DeNoble. And I was pretty excited. Mm-hmm. And I ended up getting past him, I think within like the first lap. Okay. And after that, I pretty much just rode a clean race the entire time, waiting for Decker to come up through the pack, but he ended up breaking down that first moto, which was tragic, but is what it is. And I ended up finishing first. Plan wasn't actually to run both motos right away, but after I grabbed that first moto win, we had to run that second one.
Of course he did. So they're really only like one lap longer than what you're used to, but when you're out in clean air like that in the first moto, like, did it seem like it was super long? Like you're out there waiting for somebody to come up, or did it just seem like any other race, like all these moto wins you've had all season?
No, it was pretty much just like every other race. I was actually really surprised for the most part. I expected me to get a lot more tired than I did. Yep. But I think I expected the track to be a lot more beat up that day than it was this morning. And it was pretty smooth of a track, and I just went out there and pretty much ripped.
Okay, so second moto, tell me about that.
Second moto, I almost had the hole shot, over blew the turn. Okay. And Kazmarek ended up coming in underneath me, and me and Zach came down that second turn, and I ended up beating him to that second turn. And from there, I expected him to be on my rear bumper for a while, which he was. And I ended up getting a little bit of comfortable gap on him and was able to continue to run my race out front, and was just waiting on Zach again, Decker coming up through the pack, waiting for him. And he ended up coming up and getting, I don't think he ended up getting Zach Kazmarek on the last lap, but they were really, really close.
Yeah. I probably had something to do with that because I kept him behind me for a couple laps there. Probably was holding Zach up a little bit, but yeah. So we'll touch on what came after that race there and stuff, the podium celebration and everything like that in a minute here. But you almost had the perfect weekend. I kind of thought that this was a good time to touch on that. So 1-1 in pro sport, like you just said, 1-1 in 450A. You kind of been doing that all season. Then it sounded like you almost had 1-1 in 16-24 too, and then something happened like late in the race, like you stalled it or the bike or something. So tell me about that.
Yeah. So I was running college 16-24 on that second moto and came all the way around right at the finish line, waiting for the white flag. I see the white flag. I'm coming over it on the outside, wide open. And then it just bogs out and just dies on me over the air. So first thing I immediately thought was, I got to pull in this clutch before it just locks up and I go over. Right. So I pulled in the clutch, landed, pulled off to the side, figured I was done. I figured at least I was going to try and start it and see if it started back up.
Yep.
And I started to start it and it wasn't going over, wasn't even trying to start. And then I tried it one more time, gave that starter a good push, and it started kicking over, finally got going. And I think I got passed by Van Fossen, Edwards, and I think two others. So I ended up with like fifth at that point. Okay. And it's last lap. There's not much I could do after that. So I tried tracking them down, and I only got to fourth that moto.
You're still pretty good though, man. So first of all, those things never start. Like a quad never starts after hiccups like that. So I feel like you dodged a bullet there. Like it's crazy that thing started, but you're still sitting pretty good. 24 moto wins on the season, 11 overalls, and now doing it in pro sport as well. So you're still doing just fine. I think even though that's going to feel like the one that got away, it would have been pretty sick to have, the 6 moto wins on the weekend or whatever. But what do you credit all your success to this season? Because like I said, you've been on a tear, you've been killing it, making a name for yourself, obviously. What do you credit all that success to?
Just everything, the whole season, just from the start of in the beginning of my winters training down at Deca training facility. I was down there for a couple months training. I hopped around with Alan Myers and Stanfield and Lindquist and Cale Deal and some other people. We all jumped around from track to track and trained all winter.
Awesome.
And then the season started and kicked it off at Texas, and I kicked it off with a really good weekend, and I was super happy. I had Casey down at my gate. I couldn't have been more happy to have him there with me. Chris McCulley, just with everything, him being my mechanic and helping me out all the time, on and off the track, the bikes, everything. Walsh Racecraft just making me a beautiful bike. This thing just handles so well at every track. Just can't compare to anything else. And then Casey again with shock suspension and setup everywhere. Just at every track, he's always got that bike dialed in for 100% at all the time.
Oh, you obviously got an awesome group. You can look at the bike. It's obviously, best of the best stuff. There's no doubt about that. Tell me about your program then, kind of piggybacking off of that, like your, as far as riding, training, stuff like that goes. Like, I'm assuming you go back to PA after the races. Like, tell me about all that.
Yeah, I'm in PA right now. I don't get to ride as much as I'd like to here. I think my closest track's like an hour and a half, which is like Breezewood.
Okay.
And they only do really weekend riding. So I get to ride here and there when I get to.
Okay.
Other than that, I'm at work. And then when I'm not working, I come back here at home and I ride the stationary bike at night, like an hour and a half, put my work in and get back up the next morning and go to work again.
You know what though? I've always thought this, like, you'd almost rather it be that way. And a person always obviously wants to ride as much as possible. Like that's obviously been a pain, that hurdle that I've always kind of had too, being in Wisconsin. But I feel like you'd almost rather have it that way, where like you appreciate when you get to ride and make the most of it, instead of like, having a track right down the road and taking it for granted. You know what I mean? It's like you make it count when, man, like your time to ride or whatever, like might be a little more limited. I'd almost like prefer that over the contrary, where you take it for granted.
Yes, sir, Cody. I think riding for me more is a getaway, and like I can kind of get away from everything else, and puts me in a different mindset, and I can just ride and have fun and do what I want to do, rather than walk around the day with like a different face on, basically. Riding, it allows me to open up.
I totally get that. I'm sure so many listeners totally understand what you're saying too. So you wouldn't know it, but you're only 17 years old, right? So you don't sound like that when we hear from you. But the reason why that's relevant is I've been wanting to ask you about this for the longest time. Last year, you were riding both the 250 and the 450. And the reason why I wanted to ask you about that is because that's not something, we could do 13, 14, 15 years ago when I was coming up. And it was hard for me to even imagine what that would be like to race both the amateur and the youth classes at the same time. I think it's an awesome thing, but that was like no way that was happening back in my day. When you got to make your amateur debut, like that was a huge step. So tell me about that. What was that like to race both the 250 and the 450? I think you were racing like 4 classes, 2 on each. Tell me about that.
It was incredible. I'd go from running battles with JJ Launderville in the 250 class back to back to back. Just, it would never stop. And then I go to 450 class and I'd be battling with guys who are twice my age. And it's just crazy. Like to think about the 450 class not having an age cap on it and anybody being able to be in it was kind of it kind of messed with my head a little bit going into the first race. Okay. And everybody having beards and mustaches and everything had me a little scared. Right. So I was a little nervous, and I ended up actually doing pretty well and surprising myself, giving myself a little bit more confidence for the 250 class actually. Sure. So that kind of helped me there, but still battling with Launderville, still never compete to anything else.
Yeah. So I truly think that rule and how that all works now, and how they've kind of morphed over time into being a little more lax, where you can race a 250, you can race a 450 if your age or whatever works out just right. I think that's a major reason why you kids are finding success so quickly on the 450s now. You're already used to that chassis. You can basically be on the same chassis that you'd be riding between the two classes. You're used to some power. I truly think it's progressing the sport in a major way. At least that's how I feel.
Yes, I definitely feel the exact same way. I think with taking the little kids and throwing them on a full-size chassis with just a smaller engine right away gets them ready for that bigger bike, but not as much power, not as much weight to the whole thing, and gets them used to it. And I think that's really throwing everybody to the wolves a lot quicker, but I think that's what's improving our sport a lot faster.
Well, and you tell people like I've had plenty of conversations with some of these parents that are, working on getting 250s for their kids or whatever. It's like, hey, like whether it be, a TRX with the conversion kit so you can put a 250 motor in it, or a full blown hybrid, either way, like you get them used to that chassis. Now when they, jump on a 450, like they're already comfortable on the machine. All you're doing is changing the engine. They're going to hit the ground running. It just, it's like a recipe for success for you riders, that you can really hit the ground running, whether you're racing the 250 and the 450 at the same time, or going from the 250 to the 450. Again, like you guys are set up to succeed in a way that we weren't necessarily 10 plus years ago. It makes so much sense.
Oh yeah, no, I totally understand where you're coming from and totally agree with you. It just totally is setting all these kids up for, basically it's setting them up for success and for them to be the best that they can be. I mean, when I ran CVTs and stuff, the stuff they're building nowadays, like these Jared Korn mod bikes and the CVT classes right. And these insane bikes that I'm seeing, like it would be crazy if I had that back whenever I rode. But I think it's just setting these kids up for bigger bikes, and they're just going to be faster. I think kids are going to end up being faster than the bikes that they're going to eventually have. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, in my day, we rode TRX 90s and Etons and Dinleys, and then we got on Blasters. And that feels like a lifetime ago when we talk about you being like, I can't imagine having this in my day. That's crazy. But Dane, so one of the things I wanted to get in, and as I was prepping to kind of talk to you, this crossed my mind that your dad was actually one of the first emails we ever received at Digging Deep. And I don't know if you know this or not, but he stated that you guys enjoyed the show, and if I ever needed a guest, that you'd be honored to join. And that kind of stuck with me. I just remember thinking, oh, that's cool. I knew obviously the Molander name at the time. This would have been 2+ years ago. And it was kind of cool because it stuck with me, like people are listening. Now, obviously we've gotten tons bigger since then, but it stuck with me that it was just such a nice message. You're a kid that I've been, cheering for from afar for a while now. And a lot of that was because of that. And every time I've had an interaction with you or your family, it's just been like super awesome. You guys have been awesome and humble and grateful and just awesome people. And so to bring you on under these circumstances after a huge win, it just seems like it's meant to be. Like, that's pretty special. Yeah, it really does, Cody. I don't know, just from you starting this whole podcast, it's really just, it opened me up, and I think it opened a lot of people up to stuff that they didn't realize was going on, and kind of the history and everything. And it's really honestly impressive. and I enjoy it, and my whole family enjoys it, and I think a lot of other people enjoy it.
For me, as the host, you hope that it gets people excited to go ride, excited more about the sport. And then stuff like this, like it gives you coverage. It gives people like you coverage that truly deserve it. Like I remember years, and this is, maybe even before Rip It Up Films, before some of that stuff, but like something really cool would happen at the races. And then like, you'd be waiting for there to be cool coverage about it, and it would never really come. And I hope that we're kind of filling some of those gaps, right? Like, we can talk about the awesome race you had or whatever that maybe wouldn't have gotten a ton of coverage anywhere else. And maybe we'll talk about what happened at the podium and some of those things that people, unless you were right there, would have never known about if we didn't have this opportunity to talk to people about it. So glad to fill some of those gaps. So as I was kind of mentioning there, did you go home and have somebody buy you a bottle of champagne to start practicing for the next time you get to celebrate? Because that was a whole big thing at the podium celebration. There was trying to figure out how to spray this thing. We got all kinds of people, talking about how you're supposed to be doing it and this, that, and the other thing. So it was a pretty awesome moment. It was a pretty innocent moment, I guess, where you just found yourself, you won pro sport, and I don't even know how to spray the champagne. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really funny. I expected you guys to know a little bit more about the whole thing, but I guess you guys were just as innocent as I was. But yeah, so the only experience I really had with popping champagne bottles was in the when I was maybe 9, 10 in the pro class, watching them pop champagne and right in the first row, standing there getting ready to get covered and soaked in champagne.
Right.
That's about it. Other than that, I've never had an experience myself. Now, afterwards, I had a lot of people come up and talk to me about it and the whole experience. And I got talking with Mrs. Decker, and she was talking about having champagne popping classes down at Decker Training Facility this winter for all the kids, so they know what they are to expect to do.
Yeah, right. Like don't find yourself in the Dane Molander situation where he doesn't know how to spray it. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Hey, that's a good problem to have, though. That's a good problem to have.
Yeah. At least I knew immediately what I was doing. At least I didn't open it and chug the entire bottle.
Yeah, or you didn't shoot anybody's eye out, or nothing crazy happened. So that was a pretty awesome moment. So as we look forward to Loretta's next, we kind of been asking everybody this question. Do you have a favorite Loretta Lynn's memory?
Yeah, so I think my favorite Loretta Lynn's memory is so 2 years ago, actually. The last time we were at Loretta's is the first time I ever rode a Walsh hybrid, which was Zach Decker's.
Okay.
First time I ever rode one. And just from there on, I guess, is where it kick-started me into where I'm at right now.
I was going to say where you are now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just really think that out of everything really sticks with me. Mm-hmm. And I just think that if I didn't hop on a Walsh, maybe I wouldn't be where I am now.
Sure.
But that really is really stuck with me and something I've really thought about.
That's awesome. It is crazy to think back when you're like, you start to connect the dots on like where you are and where you came from. And there are some moments like that where you wouldn't be where you are today without some of those connections. So that's crazy to think about. But man, it was awesome to get you on. You slayed it this past weekend. You've really been slaying it all year, but it was cool to be right there this weekend, share the podium with you and see all that joy firsthand. Like it was almost like, like you said, like you didn't even know that you were going to race the second moto until you won the first one. So it was almost like shock. So to see some of that, again, that joy, that innocence, that, just young enthusiasm or however you want to say it, to see all that for me firsthand was pretty cool. So stoked to get you on. Obviously want to congratulate you on an awesome weekend. Congrats to your family and all that stuff. But it was cool to discuss all this stuff about an awesome weekend. And for the listeners out there, like Dane Molander's a name that people are going to want to know because he's coming.
Thank you so much, Cody. I'm honored for you to have me here. I would love for you to have me on again, and just thank you. And everybody have a good day.
Man, you keep killing it, and we'll keep bringing you on. Congrats again, buddy. We'll get you on sometime soon. Congrats on an awesome weekend. Keep up the great work, and we'll see you soon. All right.
Thank you again, Cody.
Success in the ATV MX world is similar to what creates financial success as well. The right people, the right advice, and more importantly, hard work and the benefit of an ongoing relationship as situations change and adversity is experienced. Do you have the right financial advisor to help you reach your goals? Haymauer Financial Group can create a personalized, goal-based plan to help your family prepare for whatever life brings. Call me, Scott Haymauer, at Haymauer Financial Group, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, at 920-338-8150. That's 920-338-8150. Offices located in beautiful De Pere, Wisconsin, with registrations and clients nationwide.
Headlined by their 4130 chromoly, Launderville Steel and Concrete Supply is a full-service steel supplier of new and surplus steel, aluminum, and stainless steel products. This racing family-owned full metal service center and concrete product supplier comes with over 30 years of experience serving the entire United States from their central Midwest location. As the #1 choice for nationwide shipments and with available next-day delivery in select areas, LSE has you covered near or far. 4130 is not just the chromoly tubing and plate used in the building of chassis for an array of motorsports applications, but it is also the name of the newest addition to the pro paddock, with riders Jaden JJ Launderville and Max Lindquist, introducing the new 4130 Motorsports team. Launderville Steel offers a large selection of material for any project, including their concrete division that can supply everything you need to complete your next business or personal project. For a quote or more info, visit laundervillesteel.com today or give them a call at 715-675-6193. That's 715-675-6193. Here at Digging Deep, we have an obvious passion for ATVs and pridefully enjoy sharing the sport's history. Since 2019, when the podcast was born, we've been working to partner with individuals who share our passion, but one man and his vision had been missing from our partnership group. Until now. When it comes to the sport's history, the hallowed grounds of Binky's Forever ATC Museum has it all. Binky Tapscott's mind-blowing collection of 3- and 4-wheelers has preserved history by spanning all makes and models, from Honda 3-wheelers in chronological order to unique builds that shaped ATV racing as we know it, like Doug Gust's iconic DRZ-powered hybrid thumper and everything in between. There's no denying Binky's passion, a passion that we certainly relate to here at Digging Deep. Binky's goal is to share his amazing collection with fellow enthusiasts by making his prized possessions accessible to the public via scheduled visits. Follow Forever ATC Museum on Facebook and watch foreveratc.com for further updates on possibly getting a chance to see Binky's Forever ATC Museum for yourself. We are proud to welcome Binky's Forever ATC Museum to the Digging Deep family. As the #1 podcast in ATV racing, it's only right that we partner with the industry leaders in suspension tuning. Insert Impact Solutions. Impact Solutions is a full-service ATV and side-by-side suspension center specializing in the revalving and service of your motocross and off-road suspension. With over 25 years of elite-level knowledge, experience, and testing with riders of all ages and ability levels, Jay Goebel and the Impact crew strive to exceed clients' expectations for service and setup. Impact Solutions is the official Elka Suspension Service Center of the United States, offering unmatched product knowledge and experience. Whether you're in need of service, parts, warranty, sales, or technical support, Impact Solutions has you covered. Head over to impactsolutionsatv.com or give them a call today. Thanks for listening, and remember to support our partners. Now back to the show. We have to get to the bottom of a few things with this next guest. Is he planning to go pro? Is he really going to ride a Suzuki? Let's find out. All right, guys, back here with our next guest, and he's another guy that many of us are anxious to see what he has in store for the new 2023 season. Brought to you by Miranda Technologies. Miranda is your one-stop shop engine component supplier with wide offerings of pistons, rings, gaskets, top-end repair kits, and connecting rods. Visit your local dealer or online at www.namira.com today. And now let's welcome your 2022 Pro-Am ATV Motocross National Champion to the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, Mr. Dane Molander. What's up, buddy? It's been a little bit since we've had you on, so welcome back.
Hey, Cody. Thank you for having me back on. I couldn't be thankful to be back on here. Yeah, it's been a great season.
Yeah, man. So we haven't talked since you clinched the Pro-Am title with a dominant performance at Loretta's. Allow me to congratulate you. Probably be the last one to congratulate you at this point. It's been a little bit, but man, what a season it was for you. 5 overall wins, 10 podiums between Pro-Am and Pro Sport, 11 moto wins. It was a season that, you won't soon forget, pal. It was like a dream season for you, I feel like.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it was definitely probably a highlight of my entire career. I mean, winning the championship for Pro-Am as it is just, I couldn't be more stoked about that.
Yeah. And then the way it ended too. I mean, with that dominant ride, you had 1-1 performance at Loretta's. You didn't have to win, but you still won. The way you've raced up through the class, man, you put a stamp on that thing. And I think that you kind of left all of us that watched it kind of with this feeling like, man, Dane's the next guy. So had to feel good to put that cherry on top of that thing. Like you couldn't have ended it any better.
Yeah. I mean, it's that at Loretta's, it really came down to just anybody could win it. So I was basically all or nothing in, everything in for it, and just give or take.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, like I said, what a season. It was a dream season for you. So the season wrapped up all the way back in August. It's basically February now, so we've had some time between now and then. So what have you been up to this off season, pal? Tell me a little bit about the off season so far.
I've been working out a little bit. I've just started probably getting into riding the last couple of months. I've had some issues getting some bikes together.
Okay.
I just went riding yesterday. I actually ended up getting some horsepower out of the Suzuki's. So
I saw that. Yeah.
I'd be more stoked for that. I mean, I'm really excited for this season upcoming and the people I'm working with. I hope this program can hold together, and I think we got a shot at this.
Yeah, man. Look, I saw that you were riding yesterday, which is awesome. It's cool that you're back home, right? Like you got good enough weather to be riding back home. Is that what's going on?
The weather up here it's all right. It's kind of iffy. I mean, it's a little bit colder, so we've been going down south to around North Carolina, jumping around down there. Not really got the whole way down to Florida yet. I'm hoping within the next couple of weeks we can get down there.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah, I saw you riding yesterday, so I was like, oh, perfect. This is perfect time to talk to him. He's been spinning some laps, so that's awesome. So I heard you referenced the Suzuki, so we'll get into that. I heard early in the off season that you were planning to go pro. I don't know. I haven't heard anything official yet at this point, so I'm just going to straight up ask you, will we see Dane Molander lining up to make his pro debut at the 2023 ATV Motocross season opener at Daytona, or is that not something that's happening?
That's 100% happening. I'm all in.
I like it.
Class.
I like it.
Take it as a learning year this year. I'm not even going to mess with Pro-Am at all. I'm just going to put all my work in pro and see how we can do.
Awesome, man. Awesome. That's great to hear. I got sent an official list the other day of pro licensed riders, and your name wasn't on there yet. So I was all ready to put you in the fantasy game and start building all that. And I was like, well, better hold off till I talk to him. I didn't know exactly what was going on there, but that's an awesome thing to hear. I think that's where you belong at this point. Watching the season that you had last year, I don't think that you have anything left to prove in Pro-Am at this point. And, man, that's got to be exciting. This is something that you've been working towards your whole life. That's got to be a great feeling.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely a dream. It's been my dream since a little kid to run with the big boys, and here I am.
Yeah.
So
well,
I couldn't be happier.
I'm sure that, you probably, as you're working on quads, as you're working out in the gym, as you're spinning laps at the practice track, as you're laying in bed at night, you're thinking what it's going to be like, to be at Daytona and line up with those guys for the first time. So tell me a little bit about those emotions. I mean, we all grow up dreaming of what that'll be like. So tell me kind of what comes to mind when I ask you that. It's just got to be a dream come true.
Yeah, it's for sure a dream come true. I mean, lining up on the line with my idols I've been looking up to my entire life coming up through, seeing these other guys moving up through, being like, wow, I hope I can do that one day. And, now we're here. So, I mean, it's definitely going to be a different experience lining up on the gate, looking to my left, seeing Chad, looking to my right, seeing Joel.
Yeah, that'll be super exciting. It's one of those things too. I mean, all of us, fans and other racers, like everybody, it's exciting to see new blood in the pro class, and especially when someone like you comes in and, you're a Pro-Am champion. You're one of the guys that, everybody wants to see how it's going to go. And man, that creates so much excitement for the new season. So congrats on that. I'm sure you're stoked. And that kind of leads me directly to my next question. So I was told again early in the off season that you were going to be riding a Suzuki. You already said the Suzuki. I saw the pictures from yesterday. You're riding a Suzuki. So obviously, you're going to confirm for me that you're riding a Suzuki. So tell me about that decision to stay on a machine that's super similar to the hybrids that you had been riding in years past.
Yeah, about mid-season last year or beginning of last year, we kind of made the decision that if we were going to go pro, we'd probably try to stick with the Suzukis. I mean, the geometry of the bike just kind of suits me completely. And like, it's a really easy jump from the hybrid to that. Plus with having all the parts and extra parts from the hybrid, it's a lot of interchangeable stuff besides obviously the engine stuff. But other than that, I mean, I've rode a couple of Yamahas. I'm not a huge fan of how they ride. They're not kind of suited to my riding style, whereas the Suzuki, I love that. I mean, that whole geometry and frame and everything just rides amazing. The only concern we had was pulling some power out of the dinosaur engine over there. So, but we've made some stuff work. There's a lot of new technology that came out with it. I mean, a lot of the stuff is very comparable to the Yamaha, and I think we can pull comparable numbers to the Yamaha, if not more.
Yeah, well, and I think that there's so much to be said about riding something that is similar to what you're used to. I know that that's a conversation you and I have had in the past where you were coming, from the 250 and then moving to, to the big quad classes, to the 450 classes, and basically riding the same quad with a different motor. So to now be going to the pro class and riding a chassis that's very similar, to not have to, you're going to be learning the pro class. So that's going to be a learning curve, but then to not have to learn a whole new quad at the same time, I think that that's a major advantage, for you and your program. I would assume that that's why the decision was made.
Yeah, no, for sure. That and kind of like a budget thing. I mean, it's a lot easier, I feel like, to go into the Suzukis. I mean, you're looking at $6,000 for a basically complete bike. I mean, if you want to get into a race bike, you're looking at no more than like $10,000, whereas a Yamaha, nobody's really selling complete bikes right now. You're looking at $12,000 to just get into a stock one, and then like 15 into engine and other accessories and whatnot. So, I mean, for that to work for me, it's basically the easiest way.
Yeah, no, I totally get doing it within your means. And yeah, I'm all for that. I know exactly what that's like. Man, you're going to have a lot of LTR lovers out there that are going to be pulling for you. So that's going to be really cool. So where do you see yourself finishing, pal? I know that that's a big question, but tell me kind of about your goals, at least, that you have kind of in the back of your mind as you're getting ready to embark on, this journey of a professional career for you, racing against the fastest guys in the world and the most prestigious ATV racing series in the world. Tell me kind of what your goals are, whether it's, goal for Daytona, goal for the season. Tell me about that. What comes to mind?
I mean, a goal, honestly, over everything would be a top 3, but I mean, a realistic standing, I'm hoping for at least a top 10 and pushing for a top 5.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but I think the biggest thing is avoid the big crashes, do all the laps. You're a guy that your speed is good, you get good starts, you're used to being up front, all those things. So if you go out there and ride the way you know how, I think that you're going to find yourself right inside the top 10, right where you need to be. And I think that that's the biggest thing, right? Because in the pro class, you have all kinds of craziness happens. There's people going every which way. There's fast guys everywhere, but things happen. Guys crash, stuff breaks. I think that, doing all the laps, staying consistent, all those things is the biggest thing. And, we saw you, pal, we saw you with some magnificent crashes last year. So those got to stay in the past. That can't be something that follows you to the pro class. That's going to be done with that.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely hoping for none of those. I mean, as long as I can keep it on all 4 wheels and stay on it, I mean, that's the best thing I can possibly do. I mean, I had my fair share of getting in some pileups last year also in that pro sport class. That was kind of a disaster, but I think as long as I'm able to kind of stay away from all that and keep pushing, I think I'll be good.
Yeah, it's good for your brand. I mean, it's good for the brand, a lot of views on social media, but not good for the results at the end of the day. So yeah, that'll be awesome. And what do you think about, we got a couple new tracks this year. Obviously, you've raced Daytona in the past. It's a bigger operation when you're a pro. And then, you got Gatorback, which is new for younger guys like you. Budds Creek is I don't know if you would have been racing Budds Creek in 2012 when we last raced there. Probably not. So a couple new tracks, a little bit different schedule. That'll be exciting too, right? Like change is always kind of fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. Gatorback is definitely a new one for me. I've always heard people rave about how nice of a track that is and how sweet it is. So I'm excited to go there. Budds Creek, I've actually rode not the national, but for
races.
D13 back in the day, I'd go there. I've probably done like 3 or 4 races there back on like 90 shifters and CVT. So I mean, the track hasn't really changed much. So the layout's basically the same. So it shouldn't be too bad. And then like underground coming back, I'm excited about that. That's track I got my first ever national win at. So
nice.
So I'm happy about that one.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, Budds Creek is kind of towards your area of the country over there. So that's another good one for you, good place for you. And I think it's cool. It's actually, with Daytona being on a Tuesday and basically Gatorback being 10 or 11 days later, that's actually really nice for everybody, for the traveling aspect of it. You're all already going to be in that area. You can ride for, a week or whatever, prep for Gatorback and then be right over there. I think that the way that the schedule works out probably helps a lot of people. You can go down there for one trip, race those 2 races, hammer those out, and then move on to the rest of the series. I think that is something that the schedule makers did that kind of benefits everybody, especially, I'm from Wisconsin, so I'm way up north, but you're in Pennsylvania, you're pretty far north too. And those trips across the country, man, they break the bank for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. They're not cheap. I think it was a good decision. And I mean, you got Decker Training Facility making that race in between the
yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of that'll pull people into staying and wanting them to go there and stay for a week or so and then move to Gatorback. So I think that was a smart decision on their behalf for sure.
And is that something that you'll plan to do, is race that event down there in between?
I'm not 100% sure yet. It's invite only. I have not received my invite yet, so debating on that one. But if I do, we'll see if I go.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you'll get the invite, but and that's like big money race, right? Like, didn't I see like 10 grand is getting given away, or maybe it's more? Either way, it's big money.
They're saying, I think $25,000 in just the pro class.
Okay.
And then I think it's the first place in the pro class walks away with, I think, 15,000, and then it goes down from there. But I mean, all the other mini classes and whatnot, they're all getting paid out too.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. So credit to those guys, man. You can't say enough good things about the Deckers. And obviously my family, my mom had just said to me this morning, she's like, man, can you imagine what it would have been like, when I was staying in Florida in the off seasons and everything, where, I had to drive to the gym. I had to drive to a nice laundromat. I had to, do all these things, drive somewhere to get my bike worked on if need be, if I needed some help with something, drive to Walsh. So yeah, to have all of that in one place, we've talked about it on all of these preseason shows in years past, but to have a place like Deckers where it's all in one spot, I've never been there still to this day, but man, it looks incredible. Track looks amazing. To have all the facilities and everything, infrastructure that they have there, awesome people obviously too, and then to have, it's kind of like an Alden Baker like deal for from the dirt bike side, where you have all of these fast guys all riding together. When you're prepping for a season and you don't have other fast guys to kind of gauge yourself off of, kind of a question mark on where you stand. If you're at Deckers, exactly how fast all the fast guys are going, because most all of them are there. So advantage to everybody down there. But yeah, what an awesome place that is, and what an awesome event that is too. Like that'll be the place to be on that weekend. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then they're pulling people with that champ camp, which will be kind of like a new dream camp. So I think that'll take off pretty good too, with having everybody coming to that. And basically, I mean, they'll have fun. I mean, you can swim there, you can do whatever. So I mean, I think they'll turn that into a new dream camp and basically take that and run with it.
Yeah.
So, but the facility is great, the whole thing. I mean, you got Woods Loop, you got 2 tracks, pit bike track. I mean, kids got everything to do there, so you don't really have to go anywhere.
And how cool is it that, I know that they do dirt bike stuff too and whatever, like obviously it's open to everybody, but to have a place like that, that's very ATV like centric and focused. And obviously, they're ATV people, to have a place so nice, and to have them be ATV people. So they're, they lean towards ATVs maybe more than anything else. What a blessing that is for the ATV community, because in the past, one place after another started, not allowing ATVs. And now you have a place like this, that's the biggest, baddest place around, and they're ATV focused, it seems like. Man, what an advantage, what an awesome thing that is for the ATV community.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, 90% of the heavy hitters are moving down to Florida to train in that winter when it starts getting cold wherever they're from. So I feel like a majority of the tracks down there are kind of starting to close down on quads. I mean, some tracks will allow quads on like one day and not another day. So it's kind of iffy and depending on when you can ride and when you can't. So, I mean, going to Deckers is you can ride pretty much every single day. You don't got to worry about anything but weather. I mean, it's a smart decision.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than that. Well, pal, I can't thank you enough for your time and for fitting us into your schedule. I was going to ask you if you were going to race Pro-Am. You already told us that's not going to be a focus for you, that you're going to focus on the pro class. And I totally understand that, kind of saving all your bikes for that, saving your energy for that. That makes so much sense to me. Man, it's going to be fun. You're going to be one of the guys that I think all of us are going to be watching. I know that we all expect, big things out of you. We want to see where you're going to stack up in this pro class. But man, I got to congratulate you again on making this step to the pro class. It's a dream come true for you. And like I said, everybody's going to be watching. So I knew I wanted to get you on this preseason update show, see what's going on, get the confirmation on the pro class, get the confirmation on the Suzuki. Think that everybody's kind of excited for that. And now as soon as I get off this, I'm going to have to add you to the fantasy game because I think a lot of people are going to be picking you in ATV fantasy. Yeah,
thank you. I appreciate you having me back on, and I appreciate all the support. So, I mean, I'm hoping I get a good shot at this season, hoping to keep everything together and stay on all four wheels this season and give it my best shot. Yeah, you're going to be a hot pick for sure. So what's the next 5 weeks look like as we get close to Daytona? You said maybe going down to Florida, spinning some laps leading up to that race. Is that what it's looking like? Yeah, it has to happen. I mean, I've been trying to get down, but like I said before, like problems with bikes, trying to get them together, and it's crunch time right now. I gotta start riding more and more rather than just on the weekends. So I'm gonna try to get down there and ride as much as I can before Daytona. Yeah, well, you're gonna be ready to go. I think mindset's the biggest thing. So if in your mind you're ready to go, you'll be ready to rip. But that's awesome, man. Well, stay safe, keep grinding. Thanks so much for joining us here ahead of your rookie season as an AMA ATV Pro. And we'll look forward to you slaying it at one of these races and having you back on here to talk about it, pal. Thanks so much. Thank you, Cody. Thank you for having me. Awesome, man. That's Dane Molander signing off on the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast, brought to you by Miranda Technologies. See you soon, buddy. Thanks so much. Yes, sir. Heavy. But Dane's legacy will live on forever in our show's archive, and his name will forever be honored on our Digging Deep Rising Star Award. That's going to be a special one to give our 2023 recipient, Mason Jackson. I want to thank the Molander family for always being so good to me. You heard there, Don reached out to Digging Deep when we were brand new, and the whole family then went on to play Digging Deep ATV Fantasy, and they were just so very kind. They will be forever deeply missed. This one is for them. Thanks to producer Dallas Jansen, my brother, for all his hard work. Thanks to Brooke and AMA official Harv Whipple. Thanks to photographers Ken Hill, Swingarm Media, and Logan Tremellen of Tremellen Media House. Thanks to Logan for joining this episode. He was awesome as always. Shout out to Michelle Stillo of Rated MX. Thanks to her for another great season of being able to watch a live stream of the races. She's an absolute hero. Thanks to all of our donors. You know who you are, including the Vallone family. We appreciate you so much. Thanks to all of our partners. CST Tires. Go to shop.csttires.com today. Yamaha, thanks to Blue Crew. Thank you, SSI Decals, Valvoline, DID Racing Chain, Miranda Technologies, Bronco ATV and UTV Components, Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply, the financial advice of the Haymauer Financial Group, DP Brakes, Factory 43, Binky's Forever ATC Museum, Impact Solutions, a new partner Caldera Lab and their high-performance men's skincare products and regiment. We all know moto is a gnarly sport. It can be hard on our skin, so allow Caldera Lab to help you achieve your skincare goals this summer. Get 20% off with code DIGGINGDEEP20 at calderalab.com/diggingdeep20. Remember, if you send us a screenshot of a placed order from Caldera Lab using our Digging Deep 20 code, we will send you a free item of Digging Deep merch. And Manscaped, get 20% off and free shipping with code DIGGINGDEEP20 at manscaped.com. Support the brands that support our show, and don't forget to use those codes to save. You can find it all on our website, and be sure to click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner for all your gear and parts needs and to help us out. And most of all, thanks to you guys for listening.
Season-ending ATV fantasy info and standings, results, all those things can be found at atvfantasy.com. Congrats to league winner Adam Smith. We'll get him on in the coming weeks to talk about his championship, and his award is in the works right now. We're putting all of our prizes together, so if you finished in the top 16, 15, 16, 17, something like that or so, you can probably expect to get an email or a message from me shortly about your prizes. Obviously, my family is foregoing their prizes, so that's why it'll go a little bit down the list there. Typically, we try to give the top 15 awards, but we'll go a little farther than that because obviously we're foregoing the prizes here. Also want to thank all the people that placed Digging Deep orders in recent weeks. Being that the weather was obviously not conducive to many sales at the track, if you message us, if you DM us, we will still honor the $20 shipped price point for any item that we have in stock. So shoot us a message. This includes shirts and snapbacks, shirts of all kinds. So reach out to us and we will happily send you one of our Digging Deep shirts, the shirt of your choice, for $20 shipped. If you're looking for another easy way to help support us, visit our website and click the Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee buttons. This allows you to set up a one-time or monthly contribution to support our efforts. You can leave us a voicemail. We'd love to play it on the show. The number is 920-569-3519. Follow the show on social media, Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, and myself, Cody Jansen, for additional content, coverage, and more fun stuff as we are starting the off season. That is nuts. But we're going to hone in on the Quad Cross of Nations. We'll cover the heck out of that. We have the Digging Deep ATV Ride Day at Briarcliff coming up here at the start of October. So we still got all kinds of fun stuff going on. And the plan is I do want to talk to some of these riders that did really well at Loretta's. This has been a trying time and a difficult time for our ATV community. But in the coming weeks, I would like to talk to the Chad Wienans, maybe the Nick Janusa, some of these guys that really showed out at Loretta's. So we will cover Loretta's a little bit more with the riders who were in the mix there. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and more. Wherever you find podcasts, you'll find the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. All episodes, additional podcast providers, sponsor links, and discount codes, show merchandise, fantasy info, and more can all be found on our website, diggingdeepatvmx.com, so check that out today. Be a friend, tell a friend. Please download, subscribe, rate, review, and share. And with that, for Logan Tremellen, Dane Molander, Brooke Jansen, Dallas Jansen, and I'm your host, Cody Jansen, thanks for listening to and making us the most listened to podcast in ATV racing, with more than 230,000 downloads last month in 103 total countries. Until next time, thanks for joining us in Digging Deep with the Stars of ATV Motocross. And as we exit tonight, just like last year, we want to shout out all of our 2023 ATV Motocross National Champions. Congrats to these champions, starting with AMA ATV Pro Class champion Joel Hetrick. Congrats to Pro-Am National Champion Mason Jackson. Pro Sport Mason Jackson. Open B Casey Fancher. Open C Blaine Thomas. 450A Tom Ebden. 450B Casey Fancher. 450C Blaine Thomas. Production A Cale Deal. Production B Vincent Dillon. Production C Dustin Seifert. Production Stock BC Tyler Hart. College 16 to 24 Tom Ebden. Junior 25 plus Brett Musig. Veteran 30 plus AB Jeff Robbins. Veteran 30 plus C Dustin Seifert. Senior 40 plus AB Jeff Robbins. Senior 40 plus C Joe Thomas. Masters 50 plus Jason Jackson. WMX Kinsey Osborne. Women 15 plus Olivia Joyner. Battalion Dale Yammer. Two-stroke Matt Mansky. Youth All-Star 14 to 17 Noah Arnold. 250 mod 13 to 15 Landon Korn. Schoolboy Senior 13 to 17 Noah Arnold. Schoolboy Junior 12 to 15 Jaden Powell. Super Mini 12 to 15 Jaden Powell. Schoolgirl 13 to 17 Lillian Plaza. Girls 8 to 13 Lillian Plaza. 90 Open 8 to 13 Styles West. 90 Automatic 8 to 13 Ethan Cornell. 90 Shifter 8 to 13 Styles West. 70 open 6-11, Ethan Cornell. 70 automatic 6-11, Ethan Cornell. 70 shifter 6-11, Ethan Cornell. 50 open 4-8, Johnny Loths. 50 CVT 4-8, Sammy Joe Baxter. And 50 automatic 4-6, Easton Presley. From the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, congrats to all of our ATV Motocross National Champions. Things are crashing and burning here at the Digging Deep Podcast, much like the Titanic.
Those guys were hauling ass, for real.
I remember watching Doug Gus, I don't know who it was, Steel City, running the same times Friday afternoon as James Stewart was on Sunday back then. It was mental. I've never seen quads go that fast.
Quad leaders are freaking